Joe.
Hello.
Which character did you immediately kill to death in a video game?
Well, kill to death, right. Well, you guys are probably going to give me a lot of like, this guy who has this terrible effect on the plot, or this guy who is also in some way involved in the plot and I don't like, or is a bad party member, or whatever, you know. For me, I'm indulging something stupid here. Have you ever played Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah.
Sleeping Dogs, great game. I'm not going to say the pork bun guy. I love the pork bun guy. He says, why don't you have a pork bun in your hand and I'll buy a pork bun. Right? Love him.
It works in real life too.
It works in real life. Somebody says that to me.
Guy.
Yeah, I would buy a pork bun. I don't even eat meat. So, anyway though, there is one other guy, right? I like the fashion in Sleeping Dogs. I like all the different shops you can go in, right? You can buy all these different clothes. You can wear suits. You can wear sort of trackies, all kinds of stuff. You can really customize your little tryout, man. Yeah, you be the drip king. You know, Wei Shen, new drip king, you know, but what really irritated me, and this happens every time in Sleeping Dogs, right? You go into some store, right, and I'm like, yeah, I get my red puffer jacket. Always get the red puffer jacket in Sleeping Dogs, right? Red puffer jacket, nice pair of blue jeans, get some Timberlands. Right, get an awesome watch. Like, I look so cool in Sleeping Dogs. I'm like, this guy, like, you would not mess with this Wei Shen, right? But then, every single time you walk out of any clothing store, and there's always this one guy stood outside, and he always goes, takes guts to wear that.
Takes guts to wear that.
And it's like, are you kidding? I spent all this money, and it takes guts to wear that every single time. Same line. Yeah. So you know what it is, right? It's like he says that, and it's like, you know what, right? Just kick him right in the face. I got no time for that. Like, I spent a lot of money on that puffer jacket, and it's just, he's so impolite, and it's like, but he literally, I'm not even saying like it happens like too much. It happens every time you leave a clothing store in Sleeping Dogs, right? And it's like, is he following me around? He's like, oh, I know this really irritates him, right? Like, I don't care if I get kicked in the face again. Like, takes guts to wear that. Yeah, worth it. Like, awful man. He's just, I hate him.
What if he's a cosmic entity?
Maybe he is. He's all-knowing and all-seeing. And he does know that it takes guts to wear that. It did take guts to wear that, because I knew that he was going to be there telling me that it takes guts to wear it. And you know what? I kicked his head right off. Every time.
Which character in a game do you immediately kill?
So Scott, I'm already taking the piss with this, right? Because I can't kill them, that's the issue. But I try and kill them every single time. In Skyrim, anyone who goes to Wilhelm for the first time, it's the first interaction you go into. You know, and it's just Rolf Stonefist or whatever his name is. That dude sucks. All he does in that game is be racist to the Dark Elves and the Argonians. And you go in, and if you're a Dark Elf, he'll give you lovely racist abuse. If you're not a Dark Elf, he'll be like, so what about those Dark Elves, eh? And then you'll be like, well, I'm gonna beat you up now. So you beat him up. And what does he do after you beat him up? He's like, oh, you're my friend, aren't you? And I'm like, no, let me kill you. And I've lost track of how many times in this game that I just lose my rag with this man, because I'll be walking around and I'll be like, hey, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? You wanna go get a drink and maybe yell at some people? And I'm like, no, I lose my patience, kill him, and then I get a bounty on my head, and all the guys are like, you can't do that. And I'm just, please, just let me kill this man. I'm going insane not being able to kill this man. And you know why he's not killable, Scott?
Go on.
Because you can mug him in a Thieves Guild quest. That's the only reason. He's essential just because you get to mug him later. And you know what? I don't see why you'd mug him, because he doesn't look like he's doing well for himself. It's so annoying. Just let me kill the big bad Nord racist Bethesda. It should have been easy. It could have been an easy win. Oh, that's like 12 years of what?
Can you kill him after you?
No.
Okay.
He's always there.
Okay.
He sucks.
Scott,
Hi.
which character did you kill the shit out of?
This guy right here, Caden, who needs him. I wanted to shack up with Ashley instead when I was playing Mass Effect. I don't know what age I was, let's say some sort of teenage age, and I look forward to Mass Effect considerably back in the day. Mainly because of the conversation system, but I love the idea of being this, you know, Commander Shepard, you're going around all the different planets, you're becoming friends with everybody. I just want to have the perfect partner on the other side of me. And I was like, Ashley seems like a beautiful person. She's very much not, but at the time, I thought she was a beautiful person. So when they make you make that decision at the beginning of the game, it's very early on when they make you decide between Ashley and Caden. And I was like, well, I'll just go with the person that I want to try and go with in Mass Effect. And I just went with Ashley, which meant I immediately had to kill Caden. Never got to know him. Not a clue. Couldn't tell you what his surname is, to be honest. At this point, I just wanted him dead. He was in my way. So I immediately killed Caden.
So you-
and I would kill him again.
The horn.
Yeah, kill for Horn all day long.
Sorry.
Hello.
Which video game character did you kill immediately?
I struggled with this one, to be honest. I looked at it for a long time. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to put for this. And I looked at it long enough that I just kind of reinterpreted it in my own way. So this is going really off on a weird tangent. And actually, it's going in the direction of a tangent where it's something that we talked about so much in What Culture. And it's the most regurgitated piece of video game trivia that we should probably blacklist it. But I'm getting this in before we do it. It's the end from MGS3.
Okay.
Because my experience with that, it was the first MGS game I actually ever played. I borrowed it from a friend. I'd seen him play it a little bit. I was like, this was cool, let's try it out. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was struggling with it because it's kind of a hard game and the controls are complex. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I decided to take a break from it at a very specific moment in the game. After a character called The End had been introduced, and he's this brittle old man with a sniper rifle. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm up to this right now. I'll come back to it. And then life got in the way, and 2 weeks later or whatever, I come back to the game and I turn it on and he's dead. And I had no idea that was even a thing. I literally messaged my friend. I was like, so the boss fight just died on me. And he was like, what? This is like, when did MGS3 come out? Like,
Oh god, 2003 or something?
yeah, like way before internet is really a thing. So we didn't even know this was a thing. Just so yeah, immediately killed. Immediately in the sense of game time. Like he died like that. Yeah, it was a 2 week period where I didn't play the game. But yeah, I died him without touching him. He was gone. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I did the right thing.
Hey, you won in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I think every video game boss should do that.
Die of old age.
Just die if you leave people long enough.
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas is like one of the best RPGs of all time, right? And in my opinion, it has one of the best introductions to a game, or certainly to an RPG, ever made. So, your custom character wakes up having been shot in the head, and then nursed back to health by a doctor from a town called Good Springs. And one of the first real choices you get in the RPG comes from a conflict between the good people of Good Springs and a villainous faction called the Powder Gangers, who were coming up from a nearby correctional facility that they have overtaken. The thing is, one of their gang members is hiding out in Good Springs, and the people of Good Springs, or at least some of them, know about it, and there's kind of a conflict. So you have to decide, do you side with the residents? Do you side with the gang? Who are you going to align yourself with? And obviously, you know, me personally, I'm not going to side against the man who nursed me back from a miraculous bullet to the head wound. How did he do that? I'm not entirely certain. Not going to ask him any questions. So I always side with the people of Good Springs, kill the Powder Gangers, but I go one step further, because at least initially when I played through this game, and I've done it to varying states of completion like 6 or 7 times at this point, after you attack the Powder Gangers, you're introduced to a reputation system, because the way reputation works in New Vegas is there are a bunch of different factions, and the more antagonistic you are towards them, the more aggressive they are back to you. And it gets to a certain point where they're just outright hostile if you piss them off enough. Now, keep that in mind, because after I take out the initial set of Powder Gangers in New Vegas, I always make my way down to the prison and I shoot every Powder Ganger on sight that I see, because they're already kind of hostile to me, so I'm gonna shoot back, you know what I mean? And especially when I was younger, I just kind of assumed that they were the regular enemies of the game. They were just the bad guys in the same way that the rad scorpions you fight are the bad guys. I didn't even conceptualize them as a real faction. So this reign of terror goes all the way down to the police station that they've overtaken, and on every playthrough, I sneak into this correctional facility. Bear in mind, no quests are pointing me towards this. I sneak in and I chop everyone up. I leave it a complete bloody mess. And this kind of completes my opening stretch of the game, where I've almost put my stamp on the Mojave wasteland by wiping out this entire gang, unprovoked more or less. And that's my introduction to the game every time. And it was only after the 3rd or 4th run through where I realized the people I was killing in the prison had names. Like, they were named NPCs, obviously with dialogues and quests, and I thought, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm missing some really juicy sections of the game that I've never experienced before, but
it doesn't matter because the meta-narrative that I craft in my own brain of sneaking into that facility, taking out this gang that has wronged me is, it's too glorious to pass up every time.